Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and I do like video games, and in today's video we've got tons of gaming news to talk about, so let's hop right into it. And first up, I think it's important to start the video off with some good news, so let's talk about CD Projekt Red real quick. Because CD Projekt Red is very hard at work on a lot of different things. So first up, they've got a new IP codenamed Hadar, Project Sirius, which is a new Witcher project, Project Polarius, the Witcher 3 sequel, which begins a new trilogy for The Witcher, and then Project Canis Majoris, which is a new story-driven Witcher open-world RPG, which sounds fantastic to me, honestly. And then you got Project Orion, which is the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, which I am so hyped for. I know we're going to be waiting probably a decade for this, but I can't wait to play that game. And of course, I'm hyped for all that Witcher stuff. I'm hyped for new IP from CD Projekt Red, but the thing I'm most hyped about, the thing I'm most elated about, is the fact that they came out and stated that Cyberpunk does have a sequel, and they are going to be working on it. I mean, there's a ton of news here from CD Projekt Red. You've got them also tweeting that they'll be introducing multiplayer to most of their new games to, quote, enrich the single-player experience. They also say they want to get into mobile, TV, and film in association with external partners. I mean, they've done a good job of that with the Netflix anime series for Cyberpunk. I think that's fantastic and very well received. And then finally, CDPR also announced that they're opening a new studio in North America. So definitely tons of news regarding one of the juggernauts of RPG game development. And up next, we've got some more news from Sony, and some of it's pretty damn good, and some of it's, not that great. So let's get right into it and discuss. Head of PlayStation Studios Herman Hulst was the subject of a lot of chatter this week in the gaming community as he sat down for an exclusive interview with Julian Chaisey. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I'm almost certain I'm not, so I apologize. And this interview is available to watch on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. I highly recommend it. They talked about a lot in this interview, but the thing that people are really latching onto is the fact that Herman Hulst said that games will be coming to PC from PlayStation. He says that there will be at least a year between PlayStation console and PC game releases, with the exception of live service games, which will be released more than likely day and date on PC as well as PlayStation. And of course, you've got a contingent of butthurt fanboys online who don't like the idea of sharing anything with PC, but other than that, I think that this is a great thing for PlayStation going forward. You get more gamers engaging with your content, you get more gamers spending money in your ecosystem. PC gamers get to enjoy some very high quality gaming experiences, and PlayStation gets to reap the benefits of PC gamers enjoying those high quality experiences, which is a boatload of money. A boatload of money that just flows right back into Sony's pockets that they can then use to build bigger and better games for PlayStation fans. That's a win-win. Now there's two more PlayStation topics that I really want to go into, but the first is PlayStation Stars, which actually just launched this week in North America. And you guys remember last week when I said I was still pretty excited for PlayStation Stars? Well, that excitement has been severely diminished, to say the least, I guess. So it looks like it has 4 tiers, and each tier has different requirements to unlock what's in that tier. For level 1, you need to join PlayStation Stars and start playing and completing campaigns, and you'll unlock access to digital collectibles and receive a Stargazer telescope. For level 2, you need to buy 1 full game from the PlayStation Store and earn 1 uncommon trophy. That rewards you a level 2 celebration collectible and access to all collectibles from level 1. For level 3, you need to buy 2 full games from PlayStation Store and earn 32 uncommon trophies. For that, you will receive a level 3 celebration collectible and a birthday collectible. And finally, for level 4, you must buy 4 full games from PlayStation Store, earn 128 uncommon trophies, and your reward will be a level 4 celebration collectible, the ability to retain all collectibles from prior levels, and get chat priority routing. Basically what we talked about last week, which is just priority customer support. Now what's hilarious is that I actually saw a tweet, and my buddy Ham corroborated this when he did the math himself. So I saw this tweet. It says, after doing some math, it seems like PlayStation Stars offers 10 points per $1 spent. So it would take $1,500 spent to have enough points to redeem $60 worth of PlayStation Store credit, if my math is correct. And honestly, that wouldn't be so terrible if there were actually more ways to earn points, because right now it seems the only way you can earn points is by buying games. Now, when I compare that to what Microsoft is doing with their Microsoft Rewards, I mean, I've earned $10 in Microsoft Rewards just this past month by only playing games. I didn't buy much of anything, honestly. Granted, PlayStation Stars did just roll out, so I am hoping that they add more ways to earn points, because I feel like right now it's just kind of very bare bones. But let's move on to the topic of remakes, because this does tie in with PlayStation, and it has been a very hot topic as of late because it is rumored that PlayStation is hard at work on a Horizon Zero Dawn remake.
Why?
And if I can real quick just offer my own opinion, if this is true at all in any way, shape, or form, then this remake would be it would be the most pointless remake in the history of remaking anything. And I'm not going to sit here and just crap on Horizon Zero Dawn. I played the game, I beat it, I thought it ended up actually being pretty good for what it was, you know? I'm just speaking strictly from a remake perspective. I mean, what exactly are you remaking? The game looks incredible. It's one of the best looking games you can play on PS5, and it already has a 60 FPS patch for PS5. I mean, I guess you could remake the NPC interaction because it was pretty dead and lifeless, especially in the face when you were talking to NPCs. And that was my biggest gripe with the game back then. But honestly, even with that being said, is that enough to warrant a full-blown remake of a game that is only 5 years old? Because I don't think it is. I mean, if we're really on the topic of remakes, can we remake something that actually needs it, please? I mean, if we're just talking about Guerrilla Games here, how about we go back and remake Killzone 1 or the Killzone trilogy? I would love that. Remake that for the PS5. It would look insane. Bring back that Killzone multiplayer. Bring back all those modes. Add new modes. Add new weapons if you want to. I don't care. Just bring that game back. Make it look as good as possible. Make it play as good as possible. I would love it. But all I can say about a possible looming Horizon Zero Dawn remake is that I hope it's not true. Guerrilla's a very talented studio. I hope they're not working on Horizon Zero Dawn remake. I hope they're doing something new. And while we are on the topic of remakes, I think we should talk about The Outer Worlds. Now, this isn't going to be getting a remake, so that's not the rumor, but there is a rumor that there is a new version of The Outer Worlds called the Spacer's Choice Edition, and it's been rated for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Now, this would probably just be a visual touch-up on the game, maybe adding 60 FPS support across all consoles, because right now I know it's only Series X and PS5, whereas Series S is still running the 30 FPS version of the game. Now, keep in mind that we still don't know the pricing on all of this, because it is technically not published by Microsoft. If this is true, then this would actually be published by Take-Two or Private Division. And if this is Take-Two and Private Division, then this is going to cost money. The question is how much money, and is Microsoft going to cut them a check to put it in Game Pass on day one? We're going to have to wait and see. And then next, I think we got to talk about this Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, because we've got some pretty great stuff coming in from Brazil. So let's get right into it. So we have here that CADE, which is Brazil's competition authority, has officially approved Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Now that is huge news in and of itself, and it was also approved by Saudi Arabia. But the thing that I really want to highlight in all this is an absolute banger of a statement from Brazil's competition authority. It states, quote, "It is important to highlight that the central objective of CADE's activities is the protection of competition as a means of promoting the well-being of Brazilian consumers, and not the defense of the particular interests of specific competitors. After all, one cannot lose sight of the fact that the holder of the legal assets protected by law number 12,529-2011 is the collectivity and not the competitor/economic agent as an individual entity." And here's where it gets very, very spicy, ladies and gentlemen, because they go on to say, "In this sense, although it is recognized that part of the users of PlayStation consoles could decide to migrate to Xbox in the event that Activision Blizzard games, and especially Call of Duty, become exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem, Brazil does not believe that such a possibility represents in itself a risk to the competition and the console market as a whole." Now, if you're confused about any of that, basically what they're doing is they're throwing shots at the UK's regulatory body. Because if you remember a few months back, the UK's regulatory body came out in opposition of this deal because it affected Sony in a negative manner. Which is hilarious considering the fact that in their statement they said that it's not consumer friendly, when in fact it is consumer friendly. It's very consumer friendly, it's just not Sony friendly. And this is basically Brazil's regulatory body reminding UK's regulatory body that, yeah, it might not be Sony friendly, but it's our job to make sure it's consumer friendly, not Sony friendly. So it's definitely awesome to finally see one of these regulatory bodies come out and say what we've all been saying for the longest time, that it actually is consumer friendly. And it might not be friendly to Sony, but guess what? That's the business. It's not supposed to be friendly to Sony. It's supposed to be friendly to consumers. That's their job, to make sure it is. Now, in the grand scheme of things, Microsoft is obviously going to need a lot more approvals to get this thing to go through, but getting Brazil is a very good start. But speaking of Activision Blizzard, I think it's time we talk about some absolute duncery coming in from Activision Blizzard. So let's get right into it. Overwatch 2 launched to a resounding success, other than the fact that it was the subject of a massive DDoS attack which basically ruined launch day. There was also this weird thing where if you wanted to play Overwatch 2, you had to sign up with your mobile phone number for verification, and this has since been reversed, or at least partly reversed. It says that new players will still have to play with their phone number, but old players who played Overwatch 1 do not have to use their phone number on their account. And one of the issues stemming from this requirement is the fact that some people with certain prepaid phone plans are having issues being able to play Overwatch 2. It seems like Cricket Wireless and the Walmart prepaid plans are the only ones that are having issues, and it only seems to be happening in North America for some reason. I don't know, I might still try Overwatch 2. I might even make a video here on the channel about it for the Xbox Series S. I'm not sure at this point. Everything I hear about this game makes me want to play it less, honestly. And now I think it's about time to wrap the video, but we are going to be ending on some good PlayStation news, and that's the fact that Victrix is working on a new Pro controller for the PS5. Now, if you remember back at Summer Games Fest, we got the reveal of PlayStation's DualSense Edge controller for the PS5, and I'm pretty excited for the DualSense Edge controller, but it has one thing that I don't like, and that is linear sticks. Now, this Victrix Pro is a fully modular controller, or at least semi-modular, which is kind of like the Thrustmaster eSwap X Pro controller for Xbox. I did a review on that controller. You can check it out in the description. I'll leave a link down there if you want to see what that's all about. But basically that means that the D-pad and the left thumbstick can swap places, so if you prefer offset sticks like on an Xbox controller, then this is the controller for you. It also features 4 back paddles with 3 configurable profiles, so kind of like the Xbox Elite Series 2 in that regard. Which, by the way, shameless plug, I will have an early impressions video of this bad boy right here, the Elite Series 2 core controller, coming next week on the channel, so look forward to that. On top of the 3 configurable profiles, it also comes with 5-stop trigger locks. This, again, like the Elite Series 2 controller, or really any Pro controller for that matter, basically just means that once you activate these trigger locks, you will have a shorter trigger pull before the trigger is actuated. And this is just something that's really good to have in like FPS games, shooter games in general really. If you're playing Apex, if you're playing Halo, you're playing Fortnite, stuff like that. The quicker the trigger pull, the faster you shoot. That's just nice to have. Now, the one thing it doesn't specify and I have questions about is, will it actually still support DualSense features with those trigger locks enabled? I don't think it will, but maybe it does. Who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see. But right now, you can pre-order this controller on Amazon. It will be released on December 1st, apparently, according to Amazon. So go ahead and pre-order. 180 bucks. Pretty damn good price for a controller that is fully modular. But I think we can wrap today's video here. If you've made it this far into the video, I want to say thank you. I really do appreciate that. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking about all this week's news. And if you're enjoying this kind of content and want to stay up to date with it going forward, consider subscribing, consider ringing the notification bell, because I gotta be honest with you, the YouTube algorithm does kind of suck. And a really good way of fighting that YouTube algorithm is by subscribing and ringing the notification bell on the channels that you enjoy the most. And with all that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.